Am I the a-hole for wanting to spend time with my son without my wife? So I have a 7-year-old son who I don't get to see nearly as often as I'd like. I work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays, and by the time I get home, my son is getting ready to go to bed. My wife is stay at home, so she does most of the child care. On weekends, I spend time with Nick, but my wife always hovers around him. I never get to spend any alone time with Nick, and any time I try to do something with him, she always has to be involved. Mario Kart catch playing with his wrestling toys. I never get to have just father-son moments with him, and it irks me as it makes me feel like I'm just an accessory as a parent to her. She gets to be with Nick and have alone time when I'm at work weekdays, and on the weekends I never get any alone bonding time. I've told her this multiple times, and she says there's nothing wrong with always being around. I've said, obviously, we should be spending time together as a family unit, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't get an hour or two on the weekends where it's just him and I. So on Saturday, I decided to take Nick to a local arcade and grab some ice cream. I know on Wednesday my wife is going with him to an amateur wrestling show and stopping at his favorite restaurant after. When I told my wife I was going to take him alone, she got really upset and said it's ridiculous that she can't come as well. I told her how she's going to have a fun day with Nick on Wednesday and I'd really like to make my own memories with him. She got upset and told me to just leave and slammed the bedroom door behind me. So I took Nick and we had a blast together. It's probably the first time in close to a year I got to do something like that with just the two of us. On the way home, she texted that she doesn't feel like making dinner. I said no problem and grabbed us some Chinese takeout, her favorite. And when we got home, she refused to eat and wouldn't talk to me. She then stormed out of the house at about 7:30 and said she'll be back late and not to wait up. I then got a text from her sister at around midnight saying I really need to talk to my wife, and that she went over there and got blackout drunk and wouldn't stop sobbing about how I don't love her and don't want to spend time with her. The next morning she came home and I asked her to talk and she refused. She said she's fine and just had a bit of an episode. I didn't push and gave her space for most of the day. When we went to bed for the night, she said I was a complete a-hole and I should never try to take a child away from their mother. I said I'm not taking Nick away from her, and she's being insane for reacting like this for spending a few hours with my son at the arcade. Today I woke up and decided to take the day off work because I wanted to spend some time with her. And when I told her, she was upset and said she's running errands, so there's no point. I said, well, I'll go with her, and she said she doesn't want me with her and left the house in the rush. I feel like she's overreacting to an absolutely extreme level, to the point it seems like she's having a manic episode. She's never acted like this in the 11 years we've been together and almost feel like I'm being gaslighted into believing what I did was awful.